There are moments in life so small they almost slip by unnoticed. The sound of rain on a window, the warmth of a cup of tea, the quiet sigh at the end of a long day. Yet, in these small moments, a Stoic finds the richest meaning. The world rushes past, but wisdom teaches us to slow down and look closer, to see that joy doesn't come from grandeur or noise, but from stillness. The simple act of noticing is a form of gratitude, and gratitude is the beginning of peace. The Stoic doesn't chase happiness. He recognizes it where it quietly dwells. In the smallness of life, he discovers the vastness of being alive. We spend years searching for meaning as though it hides in distant places, in wealth, or in achievements. But meaning often sits beside us, disguised as simplicity. A conversation with a friend, the rhythm of your own breathing, or the soft light of morning. Each holds a quiet lesson in contentment. The Stoic understands that meaning is not found, it is created by attention. To be fully present in the moment is to honor life itself. When you truly look, you realize that the ordinary is already extraordinary. The Stoics believe that joy is not a reward, but a discipline. It grows from the soil of acceptance, watered by gratitude. We cannot control the world, but we can choose how we meet it, with resentment or with serenity. Each day presents us with countless small choices to be at peace or to be disturbed. When we choose peace, we begin to understand joy as a quiet strength, not a fleeting emotion. Perhaps the greatest form of happiness is the one that doesn't depend on anything outside of us. Sometimes the smallest gesture, a smile, a kind word, a patient silence can shift the course of a day. The Stoic finds power in gentleness, not in dominance. To act with calm dignity amid chaos is to express mastery over the self. Every moment we are tested, will we react or will we respond? The Stoic chooses to respond with reason and compassion, and in doing so, transforms small acts into quiet victories. Greatness, after all, begins in restraint. Life is constantly asking us to let go of people, of plans, of moments. The Stoic learns that clinging only deepens suffering. To release what was never ours to keep is not loss. It is liberation. The river teaches this truth best. It flows because it does not hold. When we accept the impermanence of everything, we begin to live without fear. What passes through our hands was never meant to stay, only to be appreciated as it went by. The world often celebrates those who do more, want more, become more. But the Stoic knows that enough is the most powerful word. To know when you have enough is to be free from endless desire. Satisfaction is not the absence of ambition, but the wisdom to recognize completeness. When you stop chasing what you don't have, you finally have space to love what you do. True wealth is not measured in possessions, but in peace. Each sunrise is a reminder that we are still given this day, this chance to begin again. The Stoic greets the morning not with demands, but with gratitude. He does not ask for the day to be easy, only for the strength to meet it well. Every dawn holds quiet potential, to practice patience, to forgive, to stay calm. When you start the day with acceptance, you end it with peace. And in that circle, life becomes a meditation. The Stoics often spoke of living according to nature, not to escape the world, but to flow with it. Nature does not hurry, yet everything unfolds in time. Trees do not resist the wind, they bend and survive. In this way, we too must learn to bend with what comes, not break under what we cannot change. To live in harmony with life's rhythm is to move without resistance. In acceptance, we find endurance. There are times when silence teaches more than words ever could. In a noisy world, stillness becomes an act of rebellion. The Stoic sits quietly, not to escape, but to see more clearly. When you listen deeply to the wind, to your thoughts, to your heart, clarity emerges. We learn that not every silence needs to be filled, and not every question needs an answer. Sometimes, peace speaks in the language of quiet. Suffering is not a punishment, it is a teacher. The Stoic meets pain not with despair, but with curiosity. What can this teach me? What strength lies on the other side of endurance? To live well is not to avoid pain, but to let it refine us. Hardship reveals what comfort hides: our resilience, our patience, our character. Every scar becomes a reminder: I have endured, and I am still whole. We spend much of life preparing for success, for love, for the right moment. But the Stoic knows there is no better time than now. The present moment is not a stepping stone. It is life itself. When we stop waiting, we start living. Each breath, each step is enough. The Stoic's secret is simple. He treats every moment as sacred, and in doing so, he never misses the miracle of now. Comparison is the thief of peace. The Stoic refuses to measure his worth against others. He understands that every life has its own course, and envy only blinds us to our own blessings. The only race worth running is the one within, to become wiser, kinder, calmer. When we stop looking outward for validation, we begin to see how rich our inner world already is. Peace is not found by outpacing others, but by walking gently with yourself. Forgiveness is one of the hardest virtues to practice, yet one of the most liberating. The Stoic forgives not because others deserve it, but because he deserves peace. Anger is a chain, and forgiveness is the key. To let go of resentment is to free the heart from its own weight. Life is too short to carry bitterness when it could hold serenity instead. The past cannot be undone, but our response to it can be transformed. A Stoic knows that control is an illusion, except for one thing, the self. We cannot control the weather, the opinions of others, or the outcomes of our plans. But we can control how we think, speak, and act. This inner domain is our true kingdom. To rule it wisely is to be unshaken by what lies beyond it. The world may shift, but the anchored soul remains steady. Patience is the art of trusting time. The Stoic does not rush the unfolding of things. He knows that what is meant will come, and what is not will fade. Impatience is born from fear, the fear that life will not deliver. But life always delivers what we need, even when it's not what we want. To wait without frustration is to trust the order of the universe. Everything ripens in its season. The Stoic path is not about isolation, but about depth. In every relationship, with family, friends, or strangers, he seeks presence, not possession. Love, when practiced with wisdom, is not attachment, but appreciation. To love someone is to wish for their peace as much as your own. The Stoic loves deeply, but without fear of loss, because he knows love is not ownership, but harmony. Mortality, too, is a companion on the Stoic's journey. To remember that life ends is not to live in fear, but to live fully. When you accept death, every moment of life becomes more vivid. You stop postponing joy, you speak truthfully, you forgive sooner. Memento mori, remember that you will die, is not a warning but a gift. It reminds us that everything beautiful is fleeting, and that is what makes it precious. Simplicity is not about having less, but about needing less. The Stoic finds beauty in the uncluttered, a quiet room, an honest word, a clear mind. When we remove what is unnecessary, what remains is enough. In simplicity, we meet ourselves without distraction. The more we strip away, the closer we come to peace. Sometimes, what you let go of defines you more than what you hold. To be resilient is not to be unbroken, but to rise despite the breaking. The Stoic embraces adversity as a forge. Each trial tempers the spirit, shaping strength from fragility. When life knocks us down, our response defines us more than the fall. The Stoic does not ask, "Why me?" but "What now?" Through resilience, pain becomes purpose, and purpose becomes peace. Gratitude, for the Stoic, is not a passing emotion but a way of seeing. It is the lens through which even difficulty becomes a gift. When we are grateful, we stop dividing life into good and bad, success and failure. Everything becomes a teacher. Gratitude softens pride and quiets envy. It reminds us that we already have more than enough. Even in loss, there is something to be thankful for: the memory, the lesson, the growth. The heart that practices gratitude discovers peace in places where others see only emptiness. Fear is a shadow that grows when we turn away from truth. The Stoic does not fight fear with denial, but with understanding. He looks directly at what he fears and sees it as it is, not as imagination paints it. Most fears dissolve when faced with clarity. Life is uncertain, but fear cannot survive in the light of reason. When we accept uncertainty as part of existence, fear loses its grip. Courage, then, is not the absence of fear, but the calm acceptance of it. Many seek purpose as if it is something hidden in the future, but the Stoic finds it in the present act. Purpose is not discovered, it is practiced. It lives in doing one's duty with care, in serving others, in living with integrity. Every small action, done with intention, becomes sacred. The Stoic does not wait for a grand calling. He creates meaning in the quiet moments of ordinary life. In the end, the Stoic's joy is not loud. It is quiet, steady, and enduring. It is the joy of walking through life with open eyes and a calm heart. The joy of finding meaning in the smallest of things, a breath, a sunrise, a kind gesture. Lasting joy is not something we seek, but something we return to again and again, in the stillness of our own being. And when we find it, we realize it was never gone. It was waiting, all along, in the small moments.